What's happening, everybody? It's your man Damon Cunningham, aka Dame D NYDC. Man, we coming to you live in the week. We're a few minutes behind, but come on in, make yourself comfortable. If you're in the woods, come on, drop a comment, let us know where you're joining us from. And tonight, I'm excited, to say the least. Today's guest that's joining us, she just from her smile alone is magnetic. You're drawn in by her energy, and I must say, look, when I say this guest and this lovely lady is a trooper, under the weather, and still, wanted to come through and hang out and just really kick it with us, we're gonna do what we do. And if you're there in the comments, I see you, hey, I believe Teresa, I see you in the woods there. Go ahead, drop a comment, let us know where you at. But tonight's guest has a slew of credits. You've seen her, in CBS's Under the Dome, owns original series Queen Sugar. She's been other credits include USA Network Satisfaction, Fox's Sleepy Hollow. You've seen her in film. She actually has had the pleasure of being on film and on screen. With some a gentleman that so many women just lose their mind over, and we're going to talk about that. And hey, it's okay. It's okay, Teresa. We're going to go ahead and make it happen for another evening. But thank you for tuning in with us. But ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I'm going to bring to the stage tonight's guest, the amazing, the magnetic Tia Hendricks. Tia, how are you doing this evening?
Oh, thank you for that wonderful introduction. I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm blessed, glad to be here, glad to have you here, glad that you're in one piece and fighting through, your your cold or whatever it is, congestion, whatever it may be. Glad to see you. I love the smile. The smile just really makes me
Thank
excited.
you.
Um,
Thank you.
you are just incredible. And my wife and I, we seen you and actually, and I never knew the movie had existed, and we're going to talk about it. But just kind of caught our eye, and then we started kind of going through a lot your library, if you will, just
Okay.
kind of catching up on some of the things that I missed. But before we start, Tia, I have to ask, and as I understand it, you're originally from South Florida, and
Yes.
I want to know what it was like coming up in South Florida for you, and what was it that inspired you to really get into acting, and how
hmm
did your upbringing really play a role and influence in that?
Okay. I grew up in South Florida, but I always say by way of Jamaica. I grew up to two
Okay.
incredible Jamaican parents, and our family is a family of immigrants, but they came here when they were teenagers, so definitely still acclimated to the United States. Acting for me is because of them and because of my older sister. They had us in the arts from the second we could walk, from dance to acting. For me, I also did gymnastics and ice skating and guitar lessons and a ton of different arts. They brought us to theater constantly when we were children. They brought us to jazz festivals. So they just kind of immersed us into the arts, and acting is kind of what took off for me. I mean, I was a dancer for most of my life, but acting is kind of
Oh.
where I've landed now.
Hmm. So that Jamaican influence, if you will,
Mhm.
and I know, coming from New York, and I have so many West Indian, Caribbean friends.
Yeah.
What was it like in your house? Like you say, you like to dance. I can only imagine the music, the food. What are some of your favorite childhood memories? When you think back of coming up, in your home, and what was a day like? Especially like on a weekend. I can only imagine what a weekend was like.
Oh, weekend was guitar lessons and dance lessons and ice skating and band lessons and all types of things. My poor parents, like now I think about it because I don't. I'm like, oh my God, their weekends were so dedicated to like, I had guitar in the morning and then I had this rehearsal. It's just a lot. But if there was dinners on Sundays with my grandparents or just with our actual immediate family, my sister, my mom, and my dad, I would always run upstairs and come back down and do a performance. I had to do a performance. Of all the talents that I'm grateful that God blessed me with, singing is not one of them, but singing is the one that I've been determined to
Mhm.
do. So I would always perform as a songstress, and my poor parents, that's the one talent God did not give me, but I still sing constantly. So I would come and perform that, or if I had a new dance at school, I perform that, just always performing, but definitely dancing down the concrete floor constantly.
I could only imagine, you having such a diverse, background, and really did your background help lead into like when we look at your character development, if you
Mm,
will? Because like you really stood out, really like when I think of Queen of the South and Queen Sugar, you
yeah.
really stood out. And did dancing really play a part in your acting and how you approach, developing your characters for your roles?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know if those particular roles, but I think as actors, movement is really key and movement is
Mm-hmm.
really a great foundation. I think it's a privilege to have a ballet background and tap, jazz, hip hop, all the things. I think it is a privilege for my physicality in general. It just allows me to kind of morph into different characters. But yeah, I don't know for those particular roles, but yeah, I think movement as artists is so important. I had the privilege of working with a great movement instructor at Identity School of Acting out in LA. Her name is Rebecca Rainey, and she really just teaches you all the different techniques of how to either do like move animal movements or like slow movements. You glide, you do all the types of things from the Lobman technique, and it's beautiful the way that you can create characters with your body, like literally
Mm.
how someone walks, how someone moves their hands, how someone grabs for a cup of coffee, like all of that is the essence of a person. So it's also helped me become more observant of people and to watch
Mm.
like, oh, that person walks like that, that person talks in that way, that person moves their body. You're just more aware so that you can bring that eventually to your characters.
I love that because these are the things that a lot of us don't see.
Hmm.
And how important was it for you to really, like you said, dive into school, acting school and things like that, to further develop and enhance, like you said, your movements, or when you read a script, let's say, like, and when you book a script, let's take it there, and you actually get the script and you're reading about that character, like, are there things in aspects that you pick up maybe from acting school, or like you say, watching other people's movements, or just in your life that you say, hmm, you know what, this might be good for this character, or this might apply to this character?
Absolutely. I think it even that to be able to go to acting school is a privilege and is something that as you're pursuing this career is necessary. I think so many people just think they can just be an actor. There's something so beautiful about honoring the craft of acting, studying the craft of acting, understanding the history of it. So for me, breaking down a script, it is taught in the schools that I've attended. What is your objective? What does your characters need? What is the action that you're taking? What do you want from this? Because every scene you have a need that you needs to be fulfilled. So
Hmm.
yeah, school has definitely taught me to analyze a script better, how to analyze a character, how to create a backstory. Like, where is this person coming from? What happened right before this scene? What's going to happen right after? Like, there has to be life throughout. There has to be life before and there has to be life after, unless your character dies. But there has to be life before and after. And acting school is so imperative, I think. I think it's
Mm,
really, really important and everyone needs acting school. I think that I have to like stress that because there's so many people now and I think they're amazing. I think it's great that they are working, but you can tell they don't have the training and then the training is so
mm,
important. And yes, some people have
mm.
inherent gifts, but to not have a little bit of history of it, I think does a disservice to the craft.
That is, and again, those are the things that we don't see, because we, as fans, we see the glitz and the glamour and all of the beauty that comes with your work, and that makes me wonder. Then, like, like you say, your diverse roles when you play, like, from Queen Sugar or Queen of the South to films like Burden and Only. Um,
Mhm.
is there something sometimes maybe when you see a script or read a script or book a script or a role that really gets you excited, and really, you sit down and you do homework, if you will, to really help bring that character to life, not only in your mind but on screen? Because a lot of times, I'm pretty sure you probably work on what they call it, green screens, where there's nothing there,
Oh,
and
I've
it's
never
just,
worked on a green screen actually. I would love
oh,
to, but
really?
no, I've never worked on a green screen. I would love to.
So then how do you then go in preparing for those type of roles where, like Burden was a really deep script, and it was an all-star cast. I mean, and that had to be exciting. But how did you prepare for that role?
I think Burden was a shock. Like for me, like
Really?
one and a shock in the sense of like I didn't know who I was working with until I went to my fitting.
Mm,
And I got to
okay.
my fit and like my who's now my friend, the costumer, who's now one of my dear friends. She was like, "Do you know who your husband is?" And I was like, no, who's my husband? It was like, Usher. And I was like, no.
Woo!
Usher who?
You're right. That
Maybe
Usher.
Usher. Yeah. And it was a childhood dream fulfilled because I was like, Usher Raymond and I get to work together and he's just a dream. But so for me, Burden, it wasn't necessarily so much as preparation as it was a surprise. And I was like, wait, I'm going to be on screen with Forrest Whitaker, Crystal
Right.
Fox, Dexter Darden, Usher Raymond. I'm like, okay, maybe I actually should read this script. You know, my accent choice is not my favorite in that movie. I'm not going to lie to you, but I love that film. I think it was brilliantly written, and I'm so grateful that I got to be a part of it.
Look, that right there, I mean, you hit it on the head. I mean, that was like just an all-star cast and crew. And not only Burden, but then you worked on Downsize with
Mm-hmm.
another amazing set of cast and character. I've had the pleasure of having Raquel John, on the
Yes.
show. She is just a ray of sunshine. She's a ray of
Divine.
light. Yes, I mean, I'm just
Truly.
blown away with her, spiritually, if you will,
Yeah.
just, amazing. So what was it like working on Downsize with that amazing cast?
I truly had like the dream ensemble of siblings on that set. It was Elijah, Raquel, and Alex. And it was just like, they're just such beautiful humans. And all of them are very spiritually connected. All of them are really in tune with themselves. And it's really nice because they're a little bit younger than me, but it's really nice to see people that are that in tune with themselves and in tune with God. Like,
Mm,
a lot of people don't like to talk about God when it comes to this industry, but to be surrounded by people who really do believe in God and are connected to God and connected to spirituality, it was just beautiful. And of course, Boris and Nicole are a dream. To watch their love shine through both on set and off set is inspiring.
mm.
Person that's hoping to have a loving relationship, they truly really are madly in love.
I can only imagine. Just looking at it, like I said, we went back and watched it. Total amazing things. Like you said, talking about God and speaking on God,
Mhm.
it's very and I think in today's world, it's very uncomfortable for so many of us, living in such a divisive world and everything that's going on social media and everything like that. Um, how important, is it for you? And I don't want to make it so personal, but like, is that really, but I think it's good sometimes that we have these conversations because I know God is deep rooted in my life, and for me to be here when I tell my story, of almost losing my life 10 years ago and
Mhm.
laying in a hospital bed, listening to a doctor tell my wife and my daughter, look, we've done everything we can.
Oh wow.
It's time to pray. My body was shutting down, and then 10 days later, I'm out of the hospital. I see life differently. I can smell the blades of grass to this day, and I see the
Yeah.
bluest of blues. And I share that, and I just wonder for you, like, has there been anything that's been transforming or transformative in your life that really makes you really, say, humble you and say, "Man, I'm thankful to even be able to do and bring the gifts that I have, to everyone every day." And I'm just curious, has there been a moment for you like that?
Oh, there's moments constantly, but first, I'm so thrilled that you're here, and I am so
Yeah.
thrilled that I kept you and protected you.
Yeah.
Um, I think there's so many moments, but the one that always stands out and the one that I end up telling everyone automatically is when I was 18, 3 days before I started college at the University of Miami, I got hit by a double semi,
Oh, wow.
and it was truly God that like the car that I was initially behind was a tractor trailer, and I was like, oh, I don't feel safe right here. I need to move around it because I can't see what's in front of me. And when I moved, as soon as I moved, the big double semi hit that tractor trailer. So had I
Wow.
stayed, I would have been completely crushed. But then when
Wow.
somehow it veered off, and I had already turned my wheel because I thought that the other tractor trailer was going to hit me. And again, that was God who turned my wheel. And instead of me getting rammed into the car in front of me, I spun into the median. My car was still totaled, but
Wow.
I didn't harm anyone else. Like I was just
Wow.
harmed. So that was all. Again, that for me is the first story I always think about that was fully
Wow.
protected by God. And that whole story has so many different things that it's so interconnected, from the lawyers to where the trucks were going. Like all of it is so
Wow.
interconnected. It was truly like covered by God. And I mean, I did go to college with a neck brace on, so it was a little awkward. But besides that,
Yeah, but you here, like you say, again, being covered and protected, and it's great that it's not great that, sometimes I think about it, it's horrifying still sometimes, but
oh,
you're here and
Yeah.
you're able to share that with others, and it's inspirational to know that you know there is a spirit and a Holy Ghost that is around us and protects us and guides us through things. So that's a crazy story. And if the worst you had to go through was wearing a neck brace, through your first couple of months of college.
I mean that, and then going to chiropractor 3 times a week during college. Like, okay, listen, I'm alive. My back is a little jacked still, but I'm still covered and protected, and I'm very grateful
Right.
because
So
there was
you
explosions. I couldn't burn. It was a whole lot.
Ooh, it's a whole lot. I
A
mean,
lot.
I just listen to it. I mean, it's just a whole lot to that could have went left, right, sideways,
Absolutely.
and all of that. And exactly, La Antoinette. Look, we're gonna go ahead and throw out that amen,
Yes, thank you.
because it is definitely needed. And like I said, every now and then I get opportunity, I like to talk about it. But I want to transition back to something that you mentioned in the film Burden.
Mhm.
You played Usher Raymond's wife, and not a lot of people run around and have the opportunity to say that. Right? They go ahead. Look, let me give you 30 seconds. I'm gonna give you. You go ahead. You floss. You do
I'm actually seeing him on
it.
concert on Tuesday of next week. I'm
Oh,
so
okay.
excited.
And see now, come on now, we got to talk about that. Okay, so was that call like hey Usher,
No,
it's me.
actually, I'm not in contact with him anymore. I wish I was, but no, I
Really?
just bought a ticket like a fan because I'm a genuine fan of him as a human, but also most importantly him as
Yeah,
an
look, I'm
artist.
a fan too, but I know if I was working, look, if I was working with you and you was in Tia, hey, remember me?
I mean, listen, I
Hey,
might, I
like
did say I might not be like, hey, can we come backstage? But I didn't get the tickets. I just bought the tickets.
that's what's up. That's what's up. That's being a true fan. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at that.
Yeah,
But you did play his wife, Tussie, if I remember correctly,
Tuesday. Yeah.
and her role really in that film was an experience. Like when I reflect on it, it was an experience, and it was powerful, and she brought a power to that entire storyline. When you look back at that, like what resonates with you? I mean, we're talking about was that 2017, 2018, I think it was.
I think it's when it
Um,
came out. I think we filmed that in 2016.
wow, look at that. So how does any parts of that still resonate with you? You know,
Oh,
at,
absolutely. That
and
set.
what parts?
Sorry, go ahead. Let me let you finish the question.
No, I was saying what parts? Yeah, yeah. Please go ahead. What parts? I want
That
to know.
set. It was in October and November of 2016. So the first year that Trump got elected. And I remember, like, and
Okay.
we were filming a movie about the Klan, and obviously they
Mm,
were riled up
mm,
because of Trump running for president and winning the presidency. And we were down, I think it
right.
was Jackson or somewhere south in Georgia, and we had to build out this KKK store. And people actually like
Wow.
locals try to come by and actually shop at the KKK store, like, and buy
What?
this heinous paraphernalia that our crew had made. And like they legitimately were actually trying to shop. So anytime like
Wow.
hair and makeup tell me these stories, I'm like, this
It's nuts.
is absurd. The
It's
amount of
nuts.
Confederate flags that we saw, the amount of racism that people encountered down there. Thankfully, cast was mostly protected from it, but
Mhm.
the crew definitely saw some of it. And it's just really
Yeesh.
sad because that time, I mean, that the day after the election, that set was so heavy because we were
Mm,
filming this movie that was also very, very heavy. But
yeah.
especially the day after Trump won, it was a very heavy set.
And that's the reason why I asked that too, because I mean, it's ironic the storyline and the time that this
Mm-hmm.
was being written and filmed is in conjunction with that. And because I can remember going to work uh afterwards, and I can
Mm-hmm.
remember people closing their offices, and I mean, and they were in there having screaming matches with office mates about the election. And here we move and we're fast forwarding again, and we're coming back into another similar time.
Yes,
And that movement, like you said, to have to experience that one in the 21st century is almost
really,
mind-blowing that we're regressing in that manner. And
absolutely.
how have you then, and I want to say this delicately because I know, like, for some people it's a switch or a pivot. Like,
Mm-hmm.
have you become more, I don't want to say like you were blind to things before, but have you become more alert and more aware of just situations and people's actions? And especially in Hollywood, I'm curious to know, like, do you still find some of that, I don't want to say that passive aggressiveness still takes place in the industry when you're sometimes having to go to work or go audition for a script?
Unfortunately, I think it's inherent in American
Mm,
society.
mm.
Um, I'm also the kid that was reading Black Like Me in sixth grade and was very militant and like wanting to know everything about Black Power and Black. I mean, I I've been militant since I was a kid, so I am also very aware of every little inkling of racism and probably overly sensitive to it, truth be told. So
Mhm,
absolutely, still I think pervasive in Hollywood. I think they're trying to do better, but
mhm.
it still happens. I still hear stories of friends who the hair and makeup department just mess them up, or the makeup department just doesn't have the right color for their skin, or like
Mm.
it's still. I mean, it's getting better, but it's still very much present, unfortunately.
That's crazy. And when we talk about, I'm gonna take a side turn and a detour here for a second because you talk about entertainment.
Hmm.
We see what's happening with
Excuse
our former friend, unfortunate situation, uh, P Diddy, and the things that are going on with him
me.
that
Hmm.
are just being unearthed. And I'm not asking if you ever been to a Diddy party. I'm not gonna ask you that because
Have the I'm gonna quick note never.
But is that something that is and I don't know if you know or not, but is that something sometimes that's an unsaid thing that this actually does happen in Hollywood? Because we've seen from Epstein, Bill Cosby, now to Diddy, like there seems to be this underlying pervasive sanity that runs through Hollywood and entertainment. And have you experienced or heard or you know been past that or made passes at unbiased or any type of thing like that in your time while you've been in Hollywood?
No, I can't say that I've experienced any of that. I don't have any firsthand experience of those types of
Mm,
situations, so I really
mm,
don't have much of a perspective besides my own opinion of what I think it is. But no,
mhm.
I've never had any firsthand experience, so I can't comment on those parties or like how people perceive the industry. I've never experienced it in that way, so no, I
Okay.
don't have
All right.
an opinion about
Oh,
that.
cool. Thank goodness,
Yeah,
because I mean, I know it's a hard and it's already hard enough being out there and fighting, you know, to stay booked and busy. And how has that been for you? I think you're on a upcoming an upswing because you do great work. But
thank
how
you.
was that like for you when is it this? Because I know it. Look, let's just be honest. Just in numbers, black women in the industry, you're probably fighting for the same jobs with some of the other names. But
Sure.
how difficult is it, for you to stay on your grind and stay on screen and out in front?
I think it's less about how difficult it is. It's just a matter of like staying passionate about it. I
Mm,
love acting. I think this is what one of my purposes is. I think that's what God has created me to do. I even quit acting back in 2022, and like a few
mm.
months later, my friend was like, "No, I have a show for you. Audition for this."
Wow.
I got a part
Oh,
on BMF because of her, but
okay.
I was like, "I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore." But I think God will constantly rope you back into doing the things that you're passionate about and the things that you're good at and the things that He blesses you with the talent for, and even when you try to run away from it, you're going to be pulled back towards it
I
because I
agree.
do, or you'll be guided in a different way. So maybe it'll be teaching, or maybe it'll be writing or directing. And I've also tried to navigate and learn a little bit more about those spaces. But
Mhm.
I think arts have just been a calling on my life since I was a child, and my parents kind of instilled that in me since I was a little girl. So I can't really escape the arts, even when I try. Like I
I
think I'm
love
just
that.
meant to be an artist in some capacity.
You have to. I mean, have you thought about expanding maybe your roles? Are you working on producing or directing, or are you writing your own scripts? Is there anything that maybe you can share that maybe
I
you're
wish
working on?
I took a playwriting class this year. I've taken a directing class this year. Um, you dabble in a little bit of writing here and there. So I am learning more about writing. I think also, as I said about the craft of acting, it is a skill and it is something that needs to be taken seriously and needs to be studied and practiced. So I feel the very same way about directing and the very same way about writing. So I am doing all that I can, and I'm just a student. I love to be a student. So I'm learning as much as I can about directing, as much as I can about writing. And as I say that, as my phone is stacked on top of books, I have a few books in front of me of things that I'm like, oh, maybe I should actually pick this back up and read it as I talk about this. But just I'm learning, and I'm always willing to to learn. So hopefully some of my friends will let me shadow them as producers or as directors so I can kind of learn a bit more of what they do.
I love that. And let's just think forward for a moment. Then you're knocking them out, and then you're landing roll after roll because that's what's going to happen.
Yes, I
But
received that. Thank you.
that take it because it's going to happen. But is there someone? Is there an actress, an entertainer, or somebody that you would like to work with, maybe in a leading role
Mm.
opposite you? That would be like your dream. Like this is it.
As you said, I thought you were going to ask me whose career I wanted, and then
Well,
I
okay, start there.
two people. But it would be amazing to work with the two of them, Journey Smollett as well as
Okay,
Zoe Kravitz. If we could play
okay.
like sisters in a movie, that would be awesome. I would love to be in a film with us as sisters or as cousins or as, somebody write it. That would be
I
amazing.
like that. I think that would be amazing. I mean, that's a talented trio right there. To get all that on screen. Woo, that would be a
I
piece of
love that.
work.
And
I,
they've done such beautiful work, and I've loved the trajectory of their careers. Now Zoe I haven't seen it yet, but she's directing, so I just want similar career path.
I Hey, look, like you got to put it out there. I
Yes,
really believe if you don't open your mouth and put it into the universe so that the man upstairs or the woman upstairs can hear it, it's not going to happen. So
yes.
it's definitely great. And to even move forward from your experiences and the growth that you've had from the time you said, because again, to even hear that you said that you retired briefly, like okay, that's a shock. Like what's going on there with the retirement? But what in your personal experience so far would where else do you see you crossing over into? And when I say that, is there that's right, Lance, when they declare it, crossing over, you maybe think about stage, maybe Broadway or
Oh, yes.
oh yeah,
Oh,
okay.
I would love that. I mean, I was a dancer, so Broadway is always a dream. And like, I initially went to New York right after I graduated college to pursue dance, but as I told you, got injured right before college, and my spine
Mm-hmm.
was, man,
All
we're
right.
not doing this.
Okay.
But I would love to be on Broadway. I would love to direct. I would love to write. I would love to produce. I would just love to really be in this career forever. So, abs Broadway would be the dream. Also, the voice of a Disney princess is like what I
Okay.
really want to do.
Okay.
And Eartha Kitt would be like my dream
Wow.
role is to play if they ever have a biopic of Eartha Kitt. That's approved by
Wow.
her family. I think that's really important to me is that her family approves it. I would love to do
Okay, and I don't know why I can kind of see you with that growl. I can't do the growl, but I don't know why I
that.
can see. Yeah, I don't know why I think I can see you rocking that. Okay, okay, I really like that. So we're gonna have a little fun for a moment. We're rolling along, and I want to ask you some things based on your talents, and we're going to talk about dancing since
Hilarious.
that's what
Your
you
team works
do.
fast. I love this.
Hey. So if Tia is out there, she at the club or she at home doing a performance or whatever with the family,
Oh yes.
what dance? What's the first dance that Tia is busting out for everybody?
I'm a Jamaican girl, so it's always gonna be a wine. There's always gonna be some sort of wine. My hips are gonna be going like that. I'm a Jamaican girl. It is in my blood. It's just who I. But then I can, I did hip hop as a kid, so there's
Okay.
that too. But if reggae has to come on, and it's just gonna be a wine always.
Oh, wine fest. Dutty? We
That's
getting
why.
Dutty?
That's why.
I love it. I love it. So if if you were in a moment to have let's just say a superpower
Mm,
and you had this amazing power to I don't know how do I want to go with this? If you had this power to be able, let's say you had it for a day,
okay.
and what would it be, and what would you do with it on set?
Ooh, on set. Mine was
Hmm.
immediately, I'm just gonna be able to travel wherever I want. Just think about it and get there or teleport. But on set, I think I would want to read people's minds so I can see
Mm,
what choices they've made for their characters, so that my
ah,
character would always have the one up because you're always trying to win your need in a scene.
okay.
So I would try to get ahead to make it even more competitive. So I
Okay.
would know what they're gonna do before they do it, so we're ready to go, so that their choices have to be even better and better and better, and vice versa. So I would want to read their minds so I know what their choices are gonna be.
That is, that's a very interesting choice. Because again, we sitting on this side, you don't really think of acting, the profession. I
Hmm.
don't say you said like a competition, right? You want to be ahead.
Well, not
Never
a competition
really.
feel, but like a competition as far as like your characters have a need they have to fulfill in the scene. Each
Okay.
character has their own need if the scene is done right, right?
Okay.
So the goal is to always like get your need met. And so if I know what
Wow.
they're thinking, my need will get met better and faster, but we're gonna constantly have to have a little bit of a battle.
I like see. You learn something new all the time. Like that. That was like one answer that I was totally okay. I like that one. So
Okay.
then
I hope it's a
let's.
good one.
No, it was a good one. I mean, it's insights. We're getting to know you. We're getting to know Tia. So I like that. Um. So let's just say you have to imagine. Just imagine one day you wake up and it's time for breakfast, and you you when you awaken, you have all the characters that you've played have come to life. Who of your characters that you've played so far would you invite to breakfast, and what bizarre dish would you serve them?
Bizarre.
Bizarre.
I would invite Tuesday because I feel
Okay.
like she's from the South. Hopefully, I would prefer if she was cooking instead of me because nothing cooking. I would hope she brings like some fried catfish and mac and cheese
Okay.
and something real
Okay.
southern. But Tia would probably just find someone to bring oysters because that's just preferred food of choice. So I'd bring her oysters in exchange for the catfish and
Okay.
cheese, sweet
Okay.
potatoes, all the good southern food.
It's amazing, and how true it is, when you come from a certain background or culture, same, being a Latino, and you have a lot of Spanish foods and different things. You always
Mhm.
like the other foods that you don't get, uh, more
Yeah,
than what you grew up on, right?
sure.
It's just, and it's just funny. Like sometimes I go to places, oh, we're gonna have, a roast compose, and I'm like, dang, I could have stayed home for that. And you always want the things that you don't normally have.
Yes.
Um, and are you a big foodie? Like when you're on set, let's say, and you're in different cities, are you like a big foodie? Are you eager to try the local dishes and the local foods while you're out on set? And I think we lost Tia in the Matrix. So what we're gonna have to do is wait for Tia to get the gremlins and everything kicked out and come on back. And while we're waiting for Tia to come on back, I want to go ahead and thank our sponsors over at TD3 Insurance, 94 Media House, TD3 Enterprises, for all of their support. And I can't forget Riddick Entertainment, and I think we've got Tia back. We're going to bring her back to the stage.
Oh my
Um,
goodness, technology today.
look, there's nothing we can do about it. When it comes to modern technology, we talked about it beforehand. Uh, and there you go. You're
I
back,
apologize.
brand new.
Hello again. Sorry.
Don't apologize. Look, I mean, this is live. This is what we do live.
I
This is
think
how we get.
reading. I don't know what's going on.
That's okay. Hey, what's happening, Shorty? My young one is in the building representing. I
Hello.
appreciate you. Yeah. My darling daughter. Thank you.
Hello.
But yeah, as I was asking, being on the road,
Mhm.
and hopefully some of the cities and places that you've seen in your travels. Are you a big foodie? You enjoy trying
I
other cuisine?
absolutely. I love seafood. Have you ever been to Mexico City?
No, I haven't.
I talk about this with everyone. Mexico
Okay,
City has the most heavenly food in all of the world, and I've traveled a
really?
lot. I don't know everywhere, but Mexico City just has cuisine from all over the world, and they prepare it in such a beautiful way. It's my favorite city. I have a whole
Okay,
album on my phone dedicated to food from Mexico City.
okay. Well, I don't know. I don't want to be biased. So my wife's family, they're from Costa Rica, and we just came back and we just spent an amazing week over there, and the
Which
food
part?
is. So her family is in Limon, Security. Where we at? Coito. I mean, we were just all like we were there, we were everywhere. Cicadas and Limon that
Okay.
predominantly. And when I say, I mean just the food, just the flavor, the naturalness of the food. You
Yes.
can go, you can just, I mean, you're not in the States because I mean, we ate and ate, and it's not like home. We here in the States, you feel that when you
Yeah.
eat,
Heaviness.
it's no heaviness. The food is so light, you can just eat it. I mean, we ate all day long, we drank all day long.
Yeah.
It's just something about being there. Life is different. It's like the world stops, and
Especially on that side, the Caribbean
yeah,
side.
the
We would
Caribbean
be,
side. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
so good.
oh my goodness. But I digress.
The
So
food, fresh
the
fish.
food, yeah, everything was fresh. I mean, literally everything was fresh.
Yes.
So I mean, I digress, but back to Tia Hendricks. So Tia, we've been having an amazing conversation, but I want to ask, so are there any projects or any type of works or anything that you have been working on that we can expect to see you in the near future? Mm,
Not yet, but from
okay.
your to God's ear, that I'll be able to book something very soon. The industry, as I'm sure you know, has been quite slow because of the
Yeah.
strikes, because of
Yeah.
AI, and because of everyone's in a frenzy about a bunch of things. So
Right.
hopefully it'll pick up, and I will be casting something amazing
I
this
hope so.
fall.
I
Fingers
hope so.
crossed and prayers
Yeah,
up. But
I
no,
hope
nothing.
so.
I'm just constantly being a student, so constantly learning, constantly studying, looking for new classes. Writing a little bit,
Okay.
reading a lot more than writing, but writing a little bit. We'll create my project soon.
So, and then I want to ask, as we're coming to a close here, is there anything that I didn't ask you that you would like to share? Because I want you, everybody. I see everybody in the background. Hey, if you want, drop a comment, say hello to Tia. Is there anything that you that I didn't ask that you want to share? And before we close out this amazing conversation tonight.
I just think for me, I mean, I think I always want to honor my parents and honor the fact that the reason I
Mm,
do this is because of them. I wouldn't have fallen in love with the arts had it not been for my parents and for my sister and for my niece. I love the art because it's the art of storytelling and allows you to tell different stories. And the story I'm proudest of is the fact that I come from a beautiful Jamaican family that has poured so
mm,
much into me and allowed me to live out this dream. And like my not just my parents, but my aunts and my uncles and my cousins and like just the entire family, my grandparents, may they all rest in peace. But they were all so passionate about pouring into us and making sure that we knew that we were supported and loved. So there's so much gratitude that I have for that. And then also just having the great supportive friends who pour into you in your darkness and in your light. You just have to be surrounded by really good people who really believe in what you're doing. And like as Issa Rae says, the table, you build your own table. You don't try to get to someone
yeah.
else's, build across. And so I have an incredible group of friends, both here in Atlanta and in Los Angeles, that I'm just so grateful for that, I get to build with. Thank
I
you,
love it.
Lantoinette. That was really nice. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Look, I'm telling you, she is amazing, and we do pray that she has uh, a long, fruitful career.
See,
It's really amazing. Yes, yes, sir. Sean, what's happening, brother? Blessings and prosperity to you. Thank you and to Tia. I really appreciate you. And yes, yeah, she out here preaching. That's what she do. She's definitely. So who's on deck? And we don't do CDs anymore. Who you streaming on deck? Since we got the Rockers, because we got Buju and everybody and
oh, I
everybody's
was like, on deck what? Oh. Bob
who's on
Marley,
deck?
classic. I really like Shensia. I think she's,
Okay.
I don't think people know enough about her yet, but
Yeah.
she just is such a great lyricist. Um, I love Life Jennings still.
Yeah. Oh, really?
I love some R&B. I really do love Life Jennings. I'm excited for the Usher concert next week. Yeah, I still kind of learning bits about music, but classic Bob Marley, you can really not go wrong with Bob Marley. And if
Mhm.
this is good for your soul, truly good for your soul.
Really is. It really
Yeah.
is. Well, I mean, I don't know what to say next, but Tia, it's been a true pleasure getting to know you and speak with you.
Thank
You are
you.
always welcome to come back. Anytime you book a role, anything you want to come back and talk about, this is your home now too. It's been a pleasure talking to the Queen Sugar and Spice actress, Tia Hendricks.
Thank you
She's a
so much.
Yeah,
Thank you
and
for
please.
having me. This has been such a beautiful experience. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's totally my honor and our pleasure. And hang on, before don't log off. I just want to talk to you once we get done uh
Okay. I'll
tonight.
say.
So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Another episode of Two Mics Up. Look, Two Mics Up, we rolling along. Season 7 on the Mogul Global TV Network. Make sure you go ahead and you download the app for free on your Amazon or Roku TV device. You can check out all the Two Mics Up. You can check out all of my network mates, and you can watch my new channel, which is now on the network, the Infusion TV channel.
Ow,
All new. Yeah, hey, look,
ow.
we doing things, trying to make things happen. We are in 45 countries right now, 100 million viewable subscribers. Check
Wow.
it out. All positive content, no nudity, no cursing, none of that. You can leave your kids in front of the TV, and we have children's TV too. So make
Love that.
sure you check us out. Go out and support the cause, support the channel. Um, it's Netflix. I mean, it's all your favorite streaming, at your fingertip. That exactly the internet is. Yeah, that's how we get down. That's how we doing it. And so I appreciate you all. And before we go, we were really talking about blessings and different things. Today I got some news from some dear friends and a woman who has been like a mother to me. I've known her most of my life. Uh, passed away today, and
Mm.
it just got me to thinking. Just even like talking with Tia, I just wanted to share just a few things about how we can care for each other. I think it's important, and these final thoughts are brought to today by our friends at Riddick Entertainment and Events. In a world often overwhelmed by chaos and uncertainty, the simple act of caring for one another shines like a beacon of hope, and it's a small gesture, whether a warm smile or a helping hand. As we navigate the complexity of life, remember that our greatest strength lies in our connections. By nurturing these bonds, we not only uplift ourselves, but we also create a ripple effect of kindness that transforms our community. In the end, it's love and compassion that we need to extend to each other that will define our legacy. Let's cherish and cultivate these relationships. For caring in one another, we find purpose, joy, and enduring sense of belonging. Together, we can illuminate even the darkest path. So I leave you all with that. Show a little care and compassion. Make a phone call. Talk to a friend. You know, could probably change their day. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and close out today's show. And I'm going to leave you with a couple of words like I always do at the each close of every show and segment. And yes, thank you, Lantoinette. I appreciate the prayers. They go a long way. Ladies and gentlemen, may you always stay safe, stay blessed. Mike's out.